Hi YouTube, it's Taiwan Car and I am back with a review for Damnation. This time it's season 1 episode 7, which was called A Different Species. And before I get on with my review, first I wanted to quickly apologize for last week's review because I was just trying to play around with some different editing software for a change and try to jazz up my videos a little bit, and in doing that I totally screwed up the original download or the original upload rather for my videos, and then when I re-edited, I ended up having to take out the entire first segment that I had recorded, which was about 5 minutes, and so that threw off all of the pictures that I had inserted and everything, and so I had to re-upload that video. And so I know a lot of people who originally would have watched it probably didn't get to see it because I had it uploaded, then I took it down. And so anyway, I'll try to get that right on this week, but thank you so much for coming back for the week 7 review and recap. And just let me throw this out here before I get too much further into this, that you might see, I'll go in and apologize in advance, that you might see some extra pictures of one character in particular who I think that I am like developing a huge crush on. So just forgive me, please. Okay, so let's go on and get started. I'm going to just kind of go over it in chunks, and I'm going to start with the ladies first. We have finally Miss Connie getting to Holden, and she's meeting Amelia for the first time. So Connie shows up at Seth's church, and we all know that she has a good story to tell when she goes to a new town. She knows how to get people to feel sorry for her. You know, she's really good at getting sympathy out of people. And so her story this time that she told Amelia was that her husband was killed by a strikebreaker, and that Amelia's pamphlet helped her deal with the heartbreak, of losing her husband. And so immediately, Amelia takes to her, and Martha Riley also does. She takes Connie to meet Martha, and Martha, takes to Connie just as quickly as Amelia did. It seems like everybody who she crosses paths with, they do take to her pretty easily. And so the ladies are sitting down talking about what the next move is going to be for the farmers, and dear child, Miss Brittany, comes up with an idea. Well, hey, why don't the farmers just start their own market and sell their own goods? Kind of like, duh. I'm surprised that no one had already thought of that too. And to that point, let me also say hello to my new subscriber. I believe it's American Copperhead. It's like American Copper HD, so I'm guessing that that's what it is. Who just recently subscribed on my episode 4. Commented on my episode 4, kind of with a similar thought, like, why didn't the farmers just trade amongst themselves, which is something that I kind of been wondering as well. And so we had a little back and forth. I guess it was on New Year's Day, and I just really appreciated the commentary coming from American Copperhead. So thank you. Just wanted to say hello to you. Glad that hopefully you're back for this review. You told me that this was going to be a great episode, and you were absolutely right. It was an excellent episode. So anyway, Amelia decides that they are going to go in and set up a farmer's market. And then later, Seth comes home, and he finally meets Connie. And it almost seems like when she met him, almost like she might have been rethinking her position on killing him, because she seemed to warm up to him as well. And then dear child, Miss Brittany asks, Mommy, is this the bad man we've been looking for? Something like that. And Connie's like, no, he's a preacher. He's a good man. Don't make me kill you, little girl, And so anyway, so that was kind of it with that storyline. I'll go on and move on to the next thing now. So next then, just to take it now to Seth and Amelia. We have them sitting at the kitchen table, going over everything that has been stolen from the bank, from the money to the documents. They find that they have over $30,000, and so they're going to use that money to help the farmers extend the payments that they need to keep their land like until the winter. I think is the way that they decided to say that they were going to do that. And Seth is going through those documents that he stole, and he sees the name Tuck Tandy as the buyer for, was it Ravenson Fertilizers in Cherokee County. And he remembers that that's the buyer from the Riley penny auction, and decides that he needs to pay a visit to Cherokee County where Ravenson Fertilizers is, and, see what's going on. And so when Seth gets there, he finds his way into the fertilizer plant, kind of sneaks in, and he sees some poor men, probably homeless men, and they're volunteering to do testing, basically to get food, or meal as their payment for testing. But they're inhaling ammonia and who knows what else in order to test the quality of these uniforms. And Seth sees a man being rolled out on a gurney, like screaming for dear life. And so he goes in to stop the next test that's going to be run. And, before the gas is released onto the man, and tells the rest of the would-be test subjects to leave, going to get out of here because you're being poisoned. And so they all get out of there. And amazingly, he's able to get out of there without anybody, stopping him or any kind of consequences. So when he gets back home to Amelia, he goes over the papers that he stole from the plant, and he's able to put together that Duval Industries is the big name basically behind everything, and that Tintern Textiles is the production company for the uniforms. And like I say, in every episode, we learn more family secrets, and here's one for Amelia. Tintern Textiles is her dad's company. So, we left off episode 6 with Hyde taking Creeley for a drive, saying that it was a good day to take a drive, or, good day to take a nice drive. And he ends up taking him to watch a chain gang of prisoners working, so that he can basically remind Creeley, that, boy, you better do what I say to do. And Hyde also lets Creeley know that he didn't appreciate being telephoned by one of the girls at the brothel. And so anyway, as far as their storyline is concerned, Hyde ends up taking Creeley to the Duval residence or estate. Like, this was, a huge place. And he and some other guy who was clearly in the same position as Creeley, his name was Remy. They are wined and they're dined and they're fitted for fine wardrobes for dining and hunting. And all the while they're hearing like these strange comments from all of these civilized men, about how strong they are, and, just kind of sizing them up. And then we see why. Creeley and Remy are there for these men's entertainment. And it's like some weird, freaky 1930s version of the Hunger Games or something. Now, Remy is slow as all get out. And maybe it's because he's a young guy, but he, I think, saw the treatment that they were getting as like him being welcomed into high society or into society life, while Creeley the whole time knew that something was going on. I guess he just didn't know what, but he was definitely keeping his eyes open and keeping his eyes on everybody. And so these, again, civilized businessmen, and leaders are basically just sick bastards with no regard for human life, especially for the life of a poor person. And we learn that Hyde knows that Creeley and Seth are brothers, and that he thinks that Creeley needs to basically pay the ultimate price for lying to him and not letting him know, who Seth was, and of course the ultimate price being Creeley's life. And so they get these guys ready for a fight. And I guess that the whole point of it was that they were supposed to fight to the death, but definitely, these, upstanding businessmen are betting, on which one is going to win. Is the older, experienced one, or is it the, one who has youth on his side, being Remy? And so Hyde is the one who has to check the guys to be sure that they are not fighting with any weapons, and we see him slip a knife into Remy's pocket, and basically tells him to take Creeley's life. And this is where, before the fight starts, and Remy is finally seeing that something is happening, he's asking Creeley what's going on. This is where the title of the episode finally comes into play, and Creeley says, that we're a different species, and basically it's kind of like, the same kind of amusement that weirdos get from watching dogs fight. That's the same thing that these guys were doing. And so but my thought was, while Hyde was bragging to Creeley, about, getting all this knowledge on him, and, I know that that's your brother, and I've done my research or whatever. He hadn't quite done all of his research, because if he had, he would have known that he should have armed Remy with a gun if he was going to try to hurt Creeley. When I saw him put that knife in there, I think that we all knew that, a knife is not really a match for this man who basically cuts himself on a daily basis for killing people. So he had not quite done enough research on Creeley. But anyway, so Creeley, struggled a little, here and there, but he seemed to have the upper hand of that battle, definitely for the most of the time, and Creeley ends up handling Remy completely, handled him to death, and his prize, a sniper rifle, yay! But his new job, he has to kill his brother, boo, so, but, as far as he sees it, then right now that's the only way for Hyde to clear his name and for him to, be free of having to deal with Hyde. So we don't know if he's really considering doing it, but, I know that he wants to. We know that he wants to be under this, from under this pressure of having to deal with Hyde and do whatever he says whenever he says. So anyway, the next thing that we see, and the last thing that we see, I think, in this episode is Creeley jumping on a train to get back to Holden. He's just kind of in one of the empty cars or whatever, and he sees this prison guard using a whip. I think wasn't that a whip? If I'm wrong, tell me, put it in the comments, please. But I think that he was using a whip on a chain gang, and so Creeley, I'm sure, reminiscing back to his own prison days, does not appreciate that treatment and takes his new little prize that he won and picks the guy off, with the precision that he does, that we've seen episode after episode. And then the other guard who was there goes over to check on the guard that was just shot, and Creeley goes on and picks him off too, thus freeing the chain gang. And I was kind of wondering why they didn't all run off into the corn field to try to take some of that, the chains off of themselves, but they all just kind of broke free, running off into the, the grass. And so anyway, they're free and they're happy, and I think that Creeley probably feels like, he's done a good deed. So that's it for the episode. I'm going to come back with some questions, and that'll wrap up the rest of this review. So my questions for I guess the season finale, because it's only going to be an 8-episode season. So Question number 1. Will we ever see the girl from the first episode who was trying to steal those eggs? Seth did invite her to the church to, get a hot meal, and she said that she would go in and come by because she kind of liked this preacher style. And I don't believe that we've seen her since then. If we have, correct me if I'm wrong. Put it in the comments. Have we seen the last of Blue Nez? Was his purpose just to go in and rob the bank and give Seth basically an alibi because he said, you've been robbed by Lou Nez, and so maybe they won't be looking for Seth? Or is he going to make another appearance? Is he going to come back into town? Question number 3. How's about that ginormous vibrator that Creeley was getting a look at the Duval residence? Could you imagine, ladies, being given that as a gift from your husband? Like, hey, honey, I brought home a little something to spice up the love life. And, like, yikes. Like, that thing was horrendous. And, like, I don't know, you kind of think of a vibrator like as something like really personal that someone can put into a nightstand. Like, how do you even hide that from your kids? Like, put a big tarp over it. Anyway, I thought that was weird and freaky. Question number 4. What more are we going to learn about Cynthia? Are we going to find out how she died finally before the season is over, or are we going to be held in suspense? I pray to God that there is a season 2 for this show because, oh my gosh, this episode was so good to me. Question number 5. Is John Dyson, the new banker, going to get Bessie in trouble? We saw him refuse her advances when they were at the brothel. And then the Black Legion guys saw her during their meeting, which was like, I got, like, the only kind of stupid thing that she's done. Like, how could she trip over that freaking bottle and, get herself exposed? And, but anyway, at that meeting, we also saw that Stubbs, the county sheriff candidate, and town grocer, is the grand wizard or whatever the hell of, the Black Legion. So, I don't know how well he's going to fare as sheriff if he and like 12 other men can't find one black woman, like the only black woman basically running around in the whole town. She was able to like basically hide herself in a cornfield and get away the next day. So anyway, but I don't think that he's in it for the justice of it all. But, and my last question, how will this season end, you guys? Is Creeley going to have to kill Hyde so that he can finally be free because he doesn't want to kill his brother? Is he not going to have to worry about killing his brother because Connie's going to take care of that? Like, so Seth's got to be watching his back. I want to know what you all think. Tell me, what are your predictions for the season finale? Did I miss anything important? Again, did I get anything wrong? If I did, please put it in the comments. Also, don't forget to check out My Twisted Life with Poetry. She also reviews Damnation. I have a feeling that she's going to like this episode. And so please like, comment, share, subscribe. Thank you so much for being here with me on this review. Happy New Year. See you next week. And I apologize again that the review is coming up so late. For some reason, this whole Thursday thing has thrown me off. But anyway, you guys, I'm going to do better. Just want to stick with it the whole way through this season. And I thank you all for sticking with me. I really, really, truly appreciate it. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.